This Dog Pound Radio special, Dog U, the Coach Show, is brought to you by
All right, so hey, the Coach Show. I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I did put a teaser, Tyler, in the, obviously on Facebook because I'm always posting, right?
Yeah.
Our players, our community, and doing that sort of stuff. But you were the second coach ever to join me on the Coach Show. Officially kind of in that full time, effort. Evan Swanson was the first, but I'm going to reach out to Evan and hopefully we can maybe get a reunion, right?
Yeah.
But hey, man, the reason I'm here is got a lot of respect for you. Number one, most recently, I've kind of redefined my life of Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and I'm not afraid of it, and I'm promoting it.
Yeah.
And just watching you with your family and the community. You were a big part of that, but God always has a plan, right?
For sure.
But I also want to talk about year one. Got to make sure you can see your face. We don't want to see my fat face. There we go. Year one, activities director. 3 kids.
Yeah.
Did the wife stay at home last year, or is she working full time still?
Yeah. So when I first took the strength and conditioning job, well, not this past year, but 2 years ago, she was full-time, stay-at-home mom. And then last year she got offered a part-time job at the elementary here. And so she did 2.5 days at home, 2.5 days here. And so really loved it. Very
Was
beneficial.
the 2.5 day a good break?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
It gave her a good feel of staying at home, but also a good feel of still educating because she loves teaching. She still wants to stay in teaching, but we also want to raise our kids ourselves and not necessarily a daycare provider. And so that was very grateful for that. It also helped out with childcare, and we didn't have to spend any money on that. Very thankful for her grandma, her parents on taking that toll away from us. But yeah, it's also kind of helped with me being the AD because I'm away from home a lot, as you know, being a former AD.
Couple hours, right?
Yeah. And so our kids are night owls. They go to bed around 9:30 at night pretty consistently, even later at times. And so it is nice when I come home late at night and they're still up and I get to see them. But then they're also morning risers too. And so they're exactly like their dad. They don't sleep very, very long. And so she wishes that could change, but to me, I'm pretty grateful for it. But yeah.
Looking back at when you first started this, kind of the transition into an administrative look. I see a lot of similarities between a guy that I worked with, not this past year, but the previous year, Adrian McKay.
Yeah.
And being able to remain calm and stuff like that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there right now. I want to the biggest question, especially for a young activities director with a family, is how do you balance all of it? Because there's so much involved in it. Whether it's your teaching here, because do you currently teach a few hours?
Nope.
Okay.
So I'm Central East first time full AD, which was very beneficial.
You see my face? Okay, so my first year here, I taught
4 different preps.
4 different preps, 6 hours, and then Anyway, but no, that's phenomenal that you're able to do that. But still busy, right?
Yeah, still busy. It's about finding a balance, filling those buckets, right? You only have so much water in your bucket, and you have smaller buckets inside that bucket, and so what are you filling? What are you prioritizing? And so my wife and I have prioritized our faith, so we go to church every Sunday.
By the way, not I'm a long ways from his record, but 5 weeks in a row.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that's
good.
pretty good, right?
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's just about religion first, my faith, and then it goes to my family. I would still say I was far from perfect with balancing work life.
Oh, sorry.
And oh no, you're okay.
Shut that off.
And it it's about when I'm home, I'm present. I try focusing on my kids, not taking work away to home, which is actually different than teaching. Like teaching, you're so engaged with the kids in the classroom that you have to do a lot of grading at home or a lot of prep at home versus like AD. I feel like I do a pretty good job of as soon as I leave school, I can just focus on my family and not take any work home with me.
Do you shut
unless
off your
I
phone?
want to. No, I don't
Okay.
actually.
All right.
No, that's one difference between me and some other ADs. They put like do not disturb on. If I get an email, I still look at it, but then I'll put my phone away. But yeah,
Well, that's awesome that you're able to balance, you know what I mean, and interact that. And you've always been kind of a whole picture, type of person anyway. But how has the if we look at the local ads, whether it's Jeff in Fort Madison, I know Keokuk's in transition right now with Jared Johnston or Ben Fry. How do you work with our kind of our local activities director to make to make everything a little bit running smoother or whatever?
yeah. So it's really because we're also in the balance of two conferences right now. Um, it's about having respect because they've been in the position for so long. So I wanna learn from Wes. I learn from you, Mr. Ireland, who is here as well. Learn from them, but also how do our Southeast Iowa Super Conference schools do it? How does the conference in general run things? That was a pretty quick learning process. And then, we do differently than the Southeast Conference. And so picking up how do they do things too. And just collaborating with each other. Like, yeah, we are rivals on the field or on the court, but it also comes down to you only know the struggles of an AD if you've been in the position, like anybody that has been in the position knows. There's a lot of things that you don't get told going through an administrative program, and that was actually one thing I was truly thankful for Dr. Crozier was he understood what the struggles of an AD are on a consistent basis. So he was able to support me through my first year, but he was also allowing me to flex my hours. And so being full-time AD, yeah, I get here at 7:45 like everyone else, and maybe leave at 4 o'clock like everyone. Some nights, but a lot of nights I come here at 7:45, and then I'm not leaving until like 9:30 that night. And so there were some days where okay, if I stayed late at night, maybe I'll come in at 9 or 10 the next day. And so when my wife was staying at home, I could spend time a couple of hours with her and the kids, and then I can go back to work. And so again, that's that work-life balance. So I was very fortunate for Dr. Crozier starting that, and then very thankful for Mrs. Stacy Schmitz following through with that as well, because the AD position, as great as it is, and I love it to death, it is a position that is a burnout position for a lot of people in our state.
Yeah.
And if there's people out there listening, whether they should make the AD position full time or not, it's a 100% full time position. How some of our Southeast Iowa Super Conference ADs do transportation, do classes, and as well as AD is beyond me. Like they're fantastic. You did a good job of it. Wes did a good job of it.
I'll give a shout out to Chad Edeker.
Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah,
I mean, he's always moving.
Right.
He's probably about as ADHD as me. Sorry, Chad, but yeah, I see it in your face, man. You're here at the end of the seasons. You look tired.
Oh, well, my twins keep me up at night.
Okay,
there, so.
okay. Now, still coaching football, still coaching track.
Yep.
Okay. That's what working. I talked to not Wes. Sorry, Ben Fry. And I said, hey man, are you ever gonna go to a bigger school? And he says, man, I want to be able to be on a football staff. I want to be able to coach.
Right.
And I'm guessing that's kind of your philosophy as well.
Yeah. So when I heard Wes was resigning from this position, I was shocked. And
Burnout, right?
He's doing it for good reasons.
Yeah,
He wants
yeah.
to spend more time
Yeah.
with his family, so I can never judge him for that. But when I got to the strength and conditioning position here, I thought I was retiring in that position. I was like, this is great. I'm just going to coast and enjoy my strength and conditioning position and impact the school that way. And then he resigned. And then my wife was like, well, AD is the dream position for you. You've talked about it. And we got our masters for that reason, to give opportunity for if something does occur, for us to take it. And I was like, I really don't know if I do a good job of it. And then so she kept on me. And then Dr. Crozier came in one day and he was like, I really encourage you to take the job. And so, when an experienced administrator like him, and then when my biggest supporter, my wife, both say I should go for it, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. And so took a lot out of your book, a lot out of Wes's book, a lot out of Jerry Ireland's book, and just putting my twist on things too. And it's worked out for the first year. I'm very grateful. Still love the position. It's still the dream job.
Well, let's go back to day one, and then let's go back to right now. Are you relieved that you're able to maybe focus a little bit more on football, getting your officials, that sort of stuff, and concentrate that way, or are you bummed? You're like, man, I
Yeah, some days I wish I was still just a coach, but I'm a whole picture guy, and so as the AD, I get to see closer side of things on the officials. And
did you ever
really
forget any physical or not physicals? Forget any officials or have double book anybody? I did my first year here. I double booked because I didn't know at that point. I'm a Centerville guy, right?
Right.
At that point, I had no idea that West Burlington had two baseball teams.
No, not in my first year, but we're transitioning to the Southeast Conference most likely if it gets approved, and so the two conferences scheduling wise do things completely different, and so that is one of my concerns: is will I be able to make sure everything is transitioning properly? Will we be able to go from Super Conference scheduling to Southeast Conference scheduling in a smooth basis? And so that'll be my big push for the next 2 years.
I do want to leave your stress. Reach out to Jeff. Jeff does an amazing job when it comes to, what I mean,
for
doing
sure.
Those scheduling stuff.
Jeff Lamb, Scott Lamb, those two have been extremely helpful. Jared Johnston now at Keokuk, he'll do a good job of learning on
coming from Centerville. He's kind of a Centervillian,
learning on his side of things too. And so it'll be a good transition. It'll be fun, and our Southeast Iowa doesn't get a lot of recognition when it comes to talent, whether it's coaches or athletes. But I will say our ADs in our area are second to none.
I do want to throw out there, because you just transitioned to where we were going next, which is Southeastern Iowa. Like, why Southeastern Iowa? That sort of stuff. Why the Doghouse preview, or trying to basically push Dog Pound Radio into this area, is because we don't get enough. You know what I mean, like hoopla and all that sort of stuff with our student athletes,
right?
And that's truly what it's all about. It's sharing not only our coaches and our staff and what Southeast Iowa. I don't think people understand on the outside looking in that Lee County is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
there's so much to do, and if you say that there's nothing to do on a weekend or during the week, man, you are dead wrong, because it's full of it, and I'm trying to share those. But being a one-man band, right? Just kind of putting that pitch out there. If you're looking to do that, I don't know, to sponsor us, hit me up. Anyway, got to throw that out there, right?
Yeah.
But why stay in Southeast Iowa? You went to Central. You played football there 4 years. Had a phenomenal team. Had a phenomenal career.
Yeah.
Why come back?
When I was first going through the college recruiting process, I thought I was going to, one, go be the dude, and then you find out, like, in college everyone's the dude.
Yep.
And then I was like, well, maybe I just want to play multiple sports. So Central College told me like, hey, we can do basketball and football for you. And then Iowa Westland said like, hey, you could do football, basketball, and baseball if you want. I was like, oh gosh,
All of it.
I fought between those two, and then Upper Iowa wanted me for basketball, and so I was like, well, there's a lot of opportunity. And so then I asked my mom and dad, what should I do? Well, they both said, you just need to get out of Southeast Iowa. Like Southeast Iowa, we're in our little corner of our state, and we get these blinders, and we just think that we're either incredibly good and we have no comparison to compare it to, or we just don't know how great some things are outside of Southeast Iowa. And so, there's always two different types of people. There's people that leave their hometown and then come back because they realize they miss it and they loved it and it's home, and that's where I was. And then there's people like my sister who leave home, find out how much is out there that's so much better, and they're like, I'm
never coming back, right?
Yeah. And so I experienced Central College, a championship caliber team, a championship culture, and I loved every second of it. And I wanted to take what I learned from there and bring it back to essentially that may not be as championship minded or everything in terms of culture and its successes.
I do want to throw out there that Hendrickson and you should have been held back a year. You were in the kind of the transition from several years of struggle and looking at your team advancing. And this is me as a coach, so I can do that. It's my show, right? But and then what you set the foundation.
I like to think that. Yeah.
Well, you did, and I don't know whether you thought it was funny or not, but I'm putting out funnies. The old coach, right?
Yeah,
funnies, and
that's all.
Looking back, you did set the foundation. You were a year away from being a part of a playoff run, or I'd like to call it it was a 2-year dynasty. Then we, I think it was Jared Brisby and Adam Larry and that group's senior year. We fell off just a little bit.
Yeah,
should have beat Sheraton. I have a lot of thoughts on that, but then we kind of struggled, and then you and I officiated a couple years.
Yep.
You ripped your shorts out in Davis County.
I did indeed.
That's funny.
Yep.
Came back on. I brought you immediately on my staff. And we had a great staff, and we had a great run, and eventually making the playoffs again. And it's awesome seeing you continue that track, right?
For sure. Yeah, things happen for a reason, and God has a plan for everything. And so, I was a small Southeast Iowa kid. I shouldn't have had the opportunity to play college ball, but
yes, you should have.
I had talent, and I tried giving the glory to God when needed, which is all the time.
How hard was it to have your dad coach you and then have the old Coach Hoffman crotchety behind? How much pressure was put on you?
Actually, I'm very fortunate to have excellent football coaches, my dad included. Like, my dad coached me throughout most of the sports, all my high school career, and some people would call that helicopter parenting or being too close, or me being a coach's son is why I was given the opportunity to play. And he would be the first to tell you that he was harder on me than anybody else, and had higher expectations for me, which was why I was talented and why I grew as an athlete. And really, when it came down to college sports, why I was able to go to play college was because he helped groom me, helped be coachable. And so when you do get a coach, Randy Hoffman, who is extremely intelligent, extremely experienced, and well accomplished, like, you don't just see it as, oh, this coach is getting on me for who I am. He's getting on me because he wants me to be who I can become. And so I think Coach Hoffman, you, Coach Merck, my dad, they all developed me into an incredible athlete on the football field, and all-around athlete, with some other coaches being really good. And so when you go to college, you're coached almost the exact same thing. They're going to get on you. They're going to push you past your limits or past how you want to be coached. And you just think of what they are saying, not how they are saying it. And that's where a lot of our kids and even parents nowadays get it wrong. It's the coach isn't attacking you because they hate you or because they don't want you to play. They're attacking you because, or they're not even attacking you. They're criticizing your
nowhere close to the way it used to be.
Right.
Just being, what happened there? I'm going to have to adjust, aren't I?
It looks like it's still recording.
Still recording? I'll have to adjust there.
Yeah.
Hey, I record everything. I don't even care.
Yeah.
but that's what makes me different, right?
But yeah, it's all about the coachability. So like I have 5 questions for kids whenever they come to me as a coach or as an AD with complaints. It's are you coachable? Are you doing what's best for the team? Are you mad about what you could be adjusting? A circle of control.
Do you add? Are you self-advocating?
Yeah, that's another thing I think our kids could get better at in this generation is self-advocacy. You know, a lot of times they're afraid to talk to coaches, which don't get me wrong, some coaches can be intimidating, but we're here for the betterment of our kids.
I got to throw out there too, coaches that coached you were a lot more intimidating than the coaches today. I'm just throwing that out.
I would say so, yeah. And so, you know, I never had a problem with being coached, and so when I went off to college, it worked out really well. And, you know, you learn from your experiences. So I learned from the great coaches I've had. I've learned from the coaches that weren't so great and what not to do. And so I take those experiences, and then I knew I wanted to coach. So I came back here, coached, and, you know, I wanted to carry Central College's championship mindset over here. We made the playoffs, which was great, you know, as an athlete.
And we won a lot of games in middle school baseball. One year in JV.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah, you know, I just got to thinking my high school career, I missed playoffs by 3 points because of the point system. And then the next year they made the playoffs and one of the best runs in Central College or essentially football history. And then in college, we had great seasons all 4 years, but missed the playoffs because Co ended up being incredibly good that year.
And then they ended up winning a national title.
Yeah. And so, you know, then I leave. And then the following year, Blaine Hawkins leads Central College to a deep playoff run, too. So I missed playoffs for a year in both high school and college. And you're like, gosh, why couldn't I have been a part of that? But talking with Coach Mack at Central College, he said, Tyler, you guys continued the tradition, continued the culture, and then you handed it off to somebody, and they helped continue that as well. And, you know, Central College is continuously going for the American Rivers Conference title in multiple sports, including football. We haven't had a losing season for long decades at Central College, and so we have carried that tradition, which is great. I just wish I could have been a part of it as a player too. But then as a coach, you take those humbling experiences and you try to tell these kids, like, you don't know what you have until it's gone, or you don't know what you could have if you don't work for it. And so I take my experiences and I try to instill it into the kids.
Oh, no, we're good. He shut it off.
Good.
I was going to pause it because I didn't.
Brought to you by Lafredo Fresh Foods.
Is that what it is? Is it good?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's school food, probably.
I'm hoping that school food changes, but
amen.
No, man. Now going back to the coach show, right? You know, you were there at the beginning. You see where we're at now. You were also there. You know, not only did I coach you, I officiated with you. You were on my staff.
Yeah.
How much change do you see concurrently when we look at the coach show or Dog Pound Radio, where it's going?
I would just say consistency. You know, what year was it? Was it 2019 that we started this? And so it's not very often a podcast can go 8-9 years, and so you know you're doing it for the right reasons. You're trying to create a culture of positivity, trying to create a championship mindset, which I really enjoy. And you don't just do it for the school that you're at. Like, you were here at Centrally, and now you're at Fort Madison. You're not just sticking to them. You're reaching out to all these other schools, to the people that you've created relationships with. You're trying to get these experienced coaches and bringing them onto the podcast. So people, again, with the Southeast Iowa blinders, can see what are these excellent coaches doing. What are the coaches in our area that are excellent doing too, like Coach Doherty, a lot of the Keokuk coaches like Zach Summers, Central League coaches that we've had. You're bringing them on this podcast because you want to express how good people are doing here in Southeast Iowa, but you also provide that outside mindset as well. And so to me, that's great because I think culture goes a long ways. And like we said at the beginning of this podcast, like Southeast Iowa doesn't get necessarily the recognition that I think we deserve. And so, we tell our stories, and so you're telling Southeast Iowa stories, and I think you're doing a great job. I think the people that you continuously bring on, like Derek, like Ben.
By the way, without Derek and Ben, we wouldn't have those great guests.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I get a few, right? But those guys, whew.
Yeah. And that's one thing about being the AD is you create relationships, you create your network, and you just grow it because we're all in the same thing together. It's for the kids. It's for creating championship mindseted programs. And yes, when we get on the field against each other, we're going to fight.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna play our best. And
remember, I shook your hand and said, "See you next year,
right.
buddy." And then now I'm medically retired, but that's all right.
And so that's what I love about sports. It's about the relationships. I love the X's and O's about sports. I'm a competitive person, but that's not why I did sports. I did it for the love of the game, and I just created an AD update yesterday that just talked about the love of the game. In today's world, we're so quick to push these kids' careers fast and get them out of here when you only get 4 years of high school sports, and it's fleeting. Like, yes, we all have favorite sports, and yes, it's okay to do some outside opportunities, but when travel sports are a $274.5 billion industry, that's not telling me it's for the kids. That's telling me it's for the adults that are engaged in the process. And so we forgot what these sports are for. It's for the love of the game. I should go to Fort Madison, Keokuk, Donaldson, Montrose, and just drive around, and I should see kids on the ball fields. I should see kids tackling each other in the backyard like we did as kids, because that's where we grew. We grew in our love. We grew in the idea of the game, right? You run your best routes against your buddy in the backyard, and then it transitions into the game field. And so I always try to do what the greats do and reciprocate it in my own way. And so I tried to do the Kobe Bryant moves in the driveway, on the gravel, concrete driveway, and then I tried running the routes that Marvin McNutt ran when he was an Iowa Hawkeye, and I tried hitting it like Barry Bonds, and then I found out what steroids were, and I was like, okay, probably shouldn't do that. But it's about the love of the game, and that's where I get passionate, is because sports are fleeting. At some point, you become a washed-up athlete like me, and it ends, and then you're like, man, I wish I could go back and do it again. Maybe not doing it differently, but doing it again because I love the experiences that I had, and I just want to instill that into our student athletes around here.
Looking back, my guys would have been Joe Montana. I was always doing that. George Brett and Pete Rose, right? Hitting rocks out front. Hulk Hogan, that wrestling thing, right?
Yeah.
Michael Jordan. Dude, it's been phenomenal sitting down with you. Definitely got to get you back on the coach show a little bit more often.
Yeah.
This Wednesday night we're going to be at Turnwater live.
Oh, okay.
Which is first time live, so bear with us.
That's all right.
We'll see if the interwebs work. But if you had a little bit of advice for a new activities director going in this year, looking back on year one, what would you get?
Oh gosh, I would say my 3 big things are: 1, don't be afraid to fail. So there's a lot of changes that I made this year, not because they were done wrong, or done incorrectly. I just wanted to put my own twist to it, and so you know, doing the AD updates is a new thing for Central Lee. Doing online programs, and now we're transitioning to like souvenir programs for all of our sports. And so, you know, at some point those could potentially fail, and I'm like, oh gosh, that sucks. You just live and learn, and like you said, there could be scheduling malfunctions or
Knock on wood that doesn't happen since
Right.
I brought it up, right?
right. So you know, being okay to learn from failure, learn from the greats. So I've learned from Wes, I've learned from you, from Dr. Crozier, from my IHS ADA mentor Jeff Cook, from Pleasantville. Learned from him. I've grown in my network with the Southeast Iowa Super Conference schools, the Southeast Conference schools, just other ads in the network. So growing in that platform as well. And then the third one I would say is don't be afraid to be honest with students and parents, but also don't be so quick to hear their side of things. Like we talked about, like self advocacy, but also the chain of communication. A lot of times it's super easy to go to an administrator when they have complaints, and I was receptive of those, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what I should have said is, have you talked to the coach first? And that would have taken a lot of frustrating situations off of my plate. Not that I wouldn't have been involved in them at some point, but it's about just being communicative and respectful for everyone involved in the process. And that goes for students to coaches, parents to coaches, coaches to those two, but also to everyone, to administrators. And so I think when we all remember that we're here for the betterment of kids, it's
about kids.
pretty easy to be a little bit more understanding. So,
Speaking
yeah.
of about kids, this one's kind of a hot topic, man. What do you think of the Iowa high school or not them, the state legislature now promoting eighth graders in high school sports? Does that scare you a little bit? Is it going to be certain sports? Do you think you'll see a whole scale shift? And I know this is a touchy one.
Yeah, no. You know, I'm a circle of control guy, and so this is out of my control that it was enacted.
Yeah.
But now I can control how we're going to handle it. And so, you know, it's about being methodical, precise, and also realistic in how we run things. So I've reached out to our coaches. I've seen other ADs and what they've been pushing out to the public on their stances of it. I've talked with our school board members, our administrators. You know, it's gathering that input and then also seeing what other schools are doing and just realizing that we don't have to rush into this per se, because we don't want gray area necessarily. I do think that eighth grade should be prioritized at the eighth grade level because that's a developmental level. There's a lot of experiences that are missed if you skip that stage. And you know, if an eighth grader's coming up, most likely a high school kid is being overplayed on, and so we don't want to take reps away from kids who are also developing and who have grown into that high school position. And so it's finding that balance of being realistic, that knowing there are some kids going through our schools that might be insanely talented and ready for that eighth grade high school experience, but there also might be some kids that develop later on, and we don't want to overstep their performance. Like heck, I didn't grow into a solid football player until my junior year, and if I would have been overstepped by an eighth grader, I'd be pretty upset. And so it's healthy competitiveness, but it's also making sure we run a program based on evaluative performance, based on needs of the team, and just overall development of a program. And if we can do that and find a policy that fits that, then I think this could be a good thing. Because I do realize there are situations where, like JV basketball, for example, there might be times where
you're short.
We brought
right?
up an eighth grader, it could keep a JV team because we don't want to take reps away from other schools as well. And so yeah, it's finding that perfect balance.
100%. Last question. You know, I'm obviously going to touch base on a more regular basis now, but year two, when we sit down a year from now, what kind of ideas, changes, or where you think you're going to be, and then we can come back to it in a year and we'll see where we're at.
Yeah. I guess not a lot of big changes. I did have quite a few changes in my first year, and so it's kind of set me into a good point in year two. It's just about leading in a positive way, leaving an impact. I always live by, if this was my last day, did I leave it on a good note?
I like that.
And so I do that with my family. I do that with my job. The kids that I impact, like if I were gone tomorrow, would it make them sad, right? Or if I have a kid graduating, will I be invited to their wedding? Not like I want to go to weddings because I'm an introvert, but did I make that big of an impact that they're like, I want them there? And so
I haven't been invited to. Yeah. I'm just kidding.
So year two for me, it's just we have a strong senior class going through for guys and girls, and so can we hold them to high standards that they're wanting and not let senioritis or entitlement come into play? And can we get them out of here achieving what they set out for from the past few years?
By the way, I do know that Fort Madison, right? They're going to be here.
Yeah.
And I've set a phenomenal cast. Dog Pound Radio will be here, provided for Coaching Culture and Athletics Radio Broadcast Network.
Yeah,
dude, that's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, week 3. So both teams will have a couple of games under their belt. We'll have Van Buren week 1, so that's always a rivalry.
Man, speaking of that, I remember on that field. What were we down to our 4th kicker?
Yeah,
4th kicker.
5th kicker. Actually.
5th kicker. Yeah. And how far would that field goal have been?
Would have been about 30-yarder.
Okay, all right. I just thrown that out there. I mean, I didn't know the young Bergman could kick at that point, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, you're okay.
Dude, had a lot of fun. Doghouse preview will be here in the house, so maybe we'll get another interview at that point.
Sure.
And we'll get a lot of your kids. Coach Dodds, man, a few words sometimes, but I got to get some words from Coach Dodds as well. But hey, good luck on year 2.
Thank you.
And try to have more work-life balance than me because I only made 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm here to tell you that Jeff looked really tired at the end of year 4, but he's doing a phenomenal job. So.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, we got great ADs in our area, and it's just fun working with them.
Fantastic. All right, so that's Dog Pound. I don't even know what the heck we call this. Oh, yeah. Check back in with the Coach Show, number 2 of all time.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.